Tom Aspinall is now the interim heavyweight champion for the UFC. But is he about to be left out in the cold? Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to On Me Head Son. I hope you're all well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So if you were as excited as I was, and probably every other UFC fan, certainly if you're from the UK, if you were that excited over Tom Aspinall, how he went to New York, Madison Square Garden on 2 weeks' notice to challenge Pavlov for the interim heavyweight championship for UFC, then you were right to be so, because I tell you what a fantastic performance. In just a little over a minute, he just caught Pavlov and a couple of shots and he was down, pounded his head, and the referee just dived in and said, "That's enough, son, you've had enough." What a fantastic result, a fantastic performance, and brilliant, just absolutely brilliant to watch. But then my mind immediately started thinking, well, hold on a minute. Pavlov and Aspinall were only in this position. They were only in this position because Jon Jones hurt his shoulder, his pec, whatever it was, ripped his pec, and he had to have emergency surgery to try and get it rectified. So basically, he's going to be out of contention for 8 months, 9 months, possibly even a year. So he was due to fight Stipe Miocic. So the only reason that Aspinall was fighting against Pavlov because that fight was off. And Miocic did not want to fight anybody else. So grab the opportunity while you can. Fantastic. And Aspinall did. In all fairness, possibly on another day, Pavlov might have beaten Aspinall. If he'd caught him right, yeah, who knows? And that's the beauty of these two UFC fighters, these two heavyweight fighters. Any shot from either one of them could have ended up in victory. But here's where we're at. Aspinall is now heavyweight champion, or interim heavyweight champion, and it could be a year, possibly even longer, before he can fight or challenge for the undisputed heavyweight crown, because Jon Jones has not been stripped of that title. He still holds on to it because he's out injured. Now, I've said this in the past, if you're a champion, you cannot defend that title, then for me, you should be given a very short grace period. In other words, a short grace period to be able to defend it. If you cannot defend it through long-term injury, then you should be stripped of that title. If you cannot defend that title because you're contracted to fight another fighter in a rematch clause or something, let's say what happens in boxing, and as we've just seen with Terence Crawford being stripped of his World IBF title, and what might happen to the outcome of Tyson Fury against Usyk, where the IBF might be stripping them of the title as well, because they wouldn't be able to defend it against the mandatory opponent in time. So I think it should happen here. Jon Jones should be stripped of the title because he cannot defend it. So where does this leave Aspinall? He is now the interim champion. For me, he should now just be undisputed champion, because number one and number two fought each other. Now, the next fight that Aspinall should fight for me is against Miocic. Now, if Miocic is saying that he wants to wait only for Jon Jones, this could be another year. So what are we doing? We're just waiting to see these two heavyweights, these two legends of the sport, come together and fight. Well, fine, they can have that fight, but it won't be for a world title. It won't be for a heavyweight title. If those two fight, and at that time, whoever wins, then they can challenge, if they want to, for the heavyweight crown. In the meantime, you should allow Aspinall, who is now the current interim heavyweight champion, to be chalked up as actually the undisputed heavyweight champion, and now go on to defend his title. So in the meantime, if he wants to defend it against Miocic, if Miocic wants to step up, fine. If he wants to defend it against Cyril Gane or whoever comes up, fine. But the heavyweight division should not be held up just because Jon Jones is injured. He should be stripped of the title so that Tom Aspinall is not left out in the cold. But this is the realistic issue here. This is what's going to happen if the UFC do not do this. Tom Aspinall is going to be forced to maybe have 1 or 2 fights, waiting for Jon Jones to come back, then wait for Jon Jones to have his fight with Miocic. So it could be over 18 months before Aspinall, if he continues to win his fights, of course, for Aspinall to fight Jon Jones, which is absolutely ridiculous. So in the meantime, all that Aspinall can do is just try and secure 2 or 3 fights, and they will always be for interim heavyweight champion. It's never going to be for the heavyweight crown, which just seems ridiculous. So you're kind of waiting in limbo to see what happens with Jon Jones. Does he continue to fight? Does he not? Does he give up the crown? Is he stripped of the crown? It just seems ridiculous to me. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But here's a real risk for Tom Aspinall in the coming months. Who does he fight? When can he fight? And is he just going to be waiting in some kind of purgatory until the UFC decide what they're going to do with the heavyweight title, what they're going to do with Jon Jones, what they're going to do with Miocic against Jon Jones? Or do they say to Miocic, now is your only time to fight? If you're going to fight, you've got to fight now, and you've got to fight Tom Aspinall, not Jon Jones. When Jon Jones is ready to fight and you want to fight again, yes, we'll give you that fight. But right now, if you want to fight, you fight Tom Aspinall. That for me is the crowd pleaser. That's the fight that we'd all love to see. Now in the heavyweight division, there's so many animals there. There's so many hard hitters that any fight for Tom Aspinall would be fantastic. But if we're talking about headline fights, then Miocic against Aspinall would be a great next fight. And then if Aspinall comes through that, and if Jon Jones isn't ready, then he can take another fight against Cyril Gane. And thereafter, when Jon Jones is ready, then Miocic and Jon Jones, if they want to do that, and at the same time, Aspinall can take up another fight, maybe the Pavlov rematch, who knows? And whoever wins out of Jon Jones and Miocic, let's say next November, then we're talking March 2025. I know, it's such a long time ahead, isn't it? 2025, where we see Aspinall against Jon Jones for the ultimate undisputed fight. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Should Tom Aspinall be left out in the cold and be forced to wait until March 2025? Or should this fight happen a lot earlier? And should they just strip Jon Jones of his title and just proclaim that Tom Aspinall is indeed the UFC heavyweight champion? For me, that's exactly what should happen. Because if you can't defend your title, then you're not the title holder, are you? That's my thoughts. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I'll catch you again. Bye now.